Alright guys, working on this dash again. It's one TV dash. And you see this tape here, it says glass. That just meant that I needed to reinforce those areas that were a little bit thinner than I wanted. So I went and I re-glassed it. If I could put my fingers on a dash and I could squish it with my finger and it's you know, it pushes in quite a bit, that's too thin. So you don't want to have brittle parts. Okay. And if you find any weak spots, you need to, refill them. Even right here, I still feel this is a little thinner than I like. I might add a little more glass in this spot right here. This part doesn't matter, these are going to be cut out. So, alright, so I got some Bondo glass and filled this bottom shelf. This is the bottom shelf. I always have a little ripples in it because of my mold. It's a defect in my mold, so I always have to fix that area at the bottom. And I found a little bit of a thin area here, so I'm going to go and re-glass a couple more layers here and here just to give it a little more strength. Alright, so on this dash I just reinforced this area right here. That's where the pod hooks up. It was a little bit thinner than I wanted, so I've added about 4 or 5 layers more right there. And then again, I found a little weak there, a couple more layers there, a couple more layers there. I just want to make sure this thing is nice and thick. And this is nice and dry now. This can be sanded down, and I'll put one more skim coat over that, and it should be good. Alright, here it is next day. All this glass has dried, and I'm going to go and trim some of this off. Alright, just trim this little piece here. This is where the pod's going to mount. Okay, just wanted to make it nice and thick so when you put your screw through there, it never breaks off. Alright, so I don't know, a while back somebody asked me if this dash was straight on top, and he asked me if it was sagging. Somebody from, I think it was the UK. And most of these dashes do have a little bit of sag in them, some more than others. The last 1TV dash I used to sell on my website was very saggy. This one is a lot more straighter, and I believe this one came from George Barris's original dash that he had. It was molded off that one, so it's a little more straight. It's not 100% straight, but it's, I mean, you can't, looking at it with the eye, you can't even see that it's, not 100% straight. But I don't believe any of these dashes were ever 100% straight anyway. And also, these weren't made out of metal, they're made out of fiberglass. Even for the show, fiberglass. So fiberglass does tend to have a little bit of, it can warp, and it could get sun damage when the sun's hitting it from that from the car, and it could really warp it out. And unless you had braces underneath to keep it straight, it could warp. I do know that a lot of the dashes in the show did have wood braces, like 1x2s, like literally 1x2s under the dash, supporting the dash, okay, underneath. So keep that in mind. I do believe this one was a straighter version, and I'm going to show you with a level that I got. This is a 4-foot level. Okay, I'm going to put it up on top. And before I even put this down here, I want to tell you guys, I think Billy Gunter was talking about it. He's more buddy-buddy with Michael Chaffee. I never met the guy, but in one of his videos, Billy said that there was a high spot that Michael Chaffee told him about, and the high spot was somewhere here in the dash, and that totally makes sense to me, because if you look at the dash where it was sitting on top of the other dash pad, the original dash pad is not flat 100%. These cars are kind of, they're kind of like this. If you look at them, even the top of the car is kind of hard to see because I have the cover, and they're kind of like this. So they're very aerodynamic cars back for its time. So there should be a high spot somewhere here, and then it should level down and level down. So let's see with the level if that happens on this dash. Okay. All right. So I'm going to put it right about here. Okay, so we're nice and level there, and you can see the gap gets a little bigger as you go that way, and the same thing here. The gap gets a little bigger there, a little more flat there. So just drop a little bit more on that side. Bring it back, and it's a little more flush there, and it seems to drop right about right here, which is about right. That should angle a little bit down and a little bit out. The same thing with this one, it drops very much at the end, about right here. So that's pretty equivalent. So what's going on this dash is it's nice and flat here, and then at the very end it kind of bows down right here, and that's exactly how the original dash pad also works on the Firebird. So let me show you guys in my car. Sorry, there's a lot of wood in here from construction I've been doing. Let's see, let me get me in this car. Alright, so here's my original dash pad in my car. Okay, from the looks of it, it looks high here like the other dash, and it looks like it drops down on both sides slightly, not a whole lot of drop, but you could tell there's a high spot here. Okay, so I'm going to take my level and see if that's true, because the eye can be deceiving. All right, there we go. All right, so you can see here it's touching the level, and then you can see the gap. See that gap there? And then the gap gets really big over there, just like the dash that I just showed you, the 1TV dash. Same thing. And over here is a little less gap, and then it gets gappy as you go towards the end. All right. So if you guys are trying to shop around for a dash and have one that's like super duper flat all the way across, I really don't know how that dash would even fit in here. I mean, you could get it to fit, but even the originals weren't like that. And this car is not flat. It's not a flat car. So you actually do want it to dip over on the left and on the right. Okay, I'll push it back as far as I can there, and you can see as I push it back, there's still a gap. Okay, see that gap? So yeah, so your dash over here should dip down, and if you're trying to make the dash where it's super straight, that's wrong. You want to have an aerodynamic in it. You want it to flow with the way the original dash did, which was down. You can even see they even pointed the end down right there at the end. Okay, that's just the style that they created for this car, and it makes sense. You know, you're trying to make a nice wraparound dash, and then the same thing with the left side. It should peak down here. It should be lower here, and it should get a little bit higher as you get towards the middle. Okay. And I think the real problem with these dashes is that TV area that comes out here, comes out to about right here. If you don't have a support under here holding it, a lower console with a support that actually hits the underside of the dash, and some of these dashes don't even have an underside, underbelly. So there's really hardly anything to even prop it up. So if you don't have a lower console, expect that dash from the sun, if you have it in the sun, expect it to start warping from the weight of the TV. It'll start pushing that TV down. So you really need to have something to keep that dash up, especially under the TV area, so your dash over the years, it doesn't start to sag and come down and lower it over time. So keep that in mind as well. You can end up getting a dash that's perfectly straight from a vendor, and you can warp the crap out of it just from keeping it in the sun and having a lot of weight on the TV and not having a lower console or some kind of wood shim or something to hold it up. So keep that in mind, guys that are building Knight Rider cars. And I just wanted to make this video so you guys make a quick note of this, so you guys can understand just the aerodynamics of this actual third gen Firebirds. See? So that makes sense that Michael would make it where it was high here and then kind of sloped down from the sides. So you should have a high spot here. I mean, it makes sense. And then kind of work your way down that way and work your way down this way. So it's a true wraparound dash. So when you're sitting in here, you know, you're going to have the dash kind of go down on your side a little bit. It's going to be a little more flat here, and then it's going to should go down on the end as well. And one more time, check out this dash. Okay,
You can see it, especially over here, it has the original drop right here, just like that dash did, the stock dash pad, except for this one pops out just a little bit towards you, okay, to give you that wraparound feeling. And you can see it's a little bit higher here in this area right here, okay. And then as you get this way, it should drop down just a little bit, and right here go down just like the original does. And you got, so if you think about this dash, the original dash pad goes about somewhere in here where my finger is, okay. So all you really got added to it is this section here, and that's where a bulk of the weight will be in this TV, okay. So just remember, when you get a dash, always prop it up, because even if you get a dash from me and I told you it was somewhat flat, you can totally mess it up from not having a support under here. And I do have an underbelly to my dashes, so you have something to put your lower console to raise it up. And then again, you don't want to raise it too high either. If you raise it too high, if you have it where it's actually pulling the TV up, you can warp it going up too. So you just want to have it nice and flat. So you want to put this in the car and then kind of sit down and you know, you could even get the level out like I did. Put this on top and you could see, okay, same thing, it's getting gappy there. That's normal. See, and actually this dash was even made to fit a little more straight over here. You see I got less gap, but as I go back a little bit to where the stock pad would be, you can see the gap a little bit more. See that? So this has been worked out to be a little bit more flat here, because this is the part where originally the dash wouldn't have been, so it doesn't look like bowed where this part comes out, but it still has a little drop off in the back, and it has to, because this, I mean, look at it guys, it is not straight. This is a curved dash. It needs to have different angles going with this type of dash, okay? And that's all I'm going to say about it, because I don't know what else to say other than, okay, it's pretty flat. I mean, you come here, okay, and then if you come on this side, you're going to see the gap goes over there. See that? This might be flat here, and then the gap will go out over there, because we're checking right here in the middle of the voice box. Okay, see that? Still gap there too. But this is exactly where you should be checking, about midway through. It should be flat there, and then you should have a bit of a gap. And like I said, this gap has been taken out quite a bit. There actually should be more gap in this area, okay, like the original one did, but because of the fact that it sticks out farther, it had been smoothed over and flattened a little more flat. Might still be a little bit of a low spot here. I can kind of feel just slightly, but it won't be noticeable to the eye unless you're doing like a super shiny paint job with a gloss black, which I don't recommend either. I actually like satin for these dashes because of the fact that it's just too glary when you drive. Makes it really hard to drive and see through the window when you're driving. Makes a really bad glare. So that's the dash, guys. I mean, it's pretty flat. It's been flattened over more so than the original dash pad, I think. You see the little gap there. It's pretty flat there. And then on this side, you can see the gap where it starts to go down on that side. So that's it for that. I gotta get back to work, guys. Still finishing up this dash.
Alright guys, so I'm working on this dash here. You can see I got all my filler and most of the imperfections that I found. Probably a couple that I missed, but I'll go around a second time. Any little defects I will go and fill. Okay, the seam line goes this way, so there's always some voids on the seam line. The seam line goes up, goes across. Okay. Now this is almost dry, so I'm about to go and sand that all down. Just finished sanding down the first run around of filler, and I could tell you I got probably 80% of the imperfections out. still a little, you know, like right here I missed this spot. Okay. Little spot here, I want to put just a little skim coat over there. Little chip there I missed. And put another skim coat in here on this edge in here. A little bit right here. I gotta put another skim coat in here. Okay, maybe a little bit more. This will probably be covered up, but I'll probably just fix that anyway. Same thing in here. This all needs to be cut out. So I don't usually try to spend too much time on these spots where it's just going to be cut out. But like right there, I need to put a little more filler there on that chip. And a little tiny little air pocket, little chip right there. And then I gotta put one more coat on this bottom piece. Even though you're not gonna see it, I don't want ripples there, so I'll smooth this over with some filler. This one is Bondo glass, and so it's really rock hard. If you ever want to do, have you ever got an imperfection? Let me take a mess. If you ever got an imperfection that's really needs a lot of filler, I recommend using Bondo glass or a Dyna glass, something with some fiberglass in it, because it just gets so much harder than using the normal, you know, fillers. Like I use a 3M Platinum Plus filler, but that stuff is somewhat soft, so you want something a little bit harder, something with the glass reinforcement in it. And that's the only place I usually have to use it on, is this bottom piece, because like I said, I have imperfection in my dash mold that sits right on this bottom lip right here, only in this one section here. And there I got a little chip there. I'm going to fill this one, a little imperfection there. I'm going to put a little skim coat here, a little skim coat here, and then I'll skim coat that, a couple little spots there, and then that should be good. I'll probably have to do one more round of filler on this dash, and then it'll be probably ready for primer after that. There it is. So I'm going to take a break, guys. I'll have this finished up probably by tomorrow, hopefully. But this is going to go out to James, and this guy's been very patient with me. He's one of my Facebook friends on Facebook. So thank you, James, for your patience. I'm doing a really good job on this dash for you, and should be done very soon. Stay tuned to the next video. Next video will be me finishing up this dash and finishing up a bumper after that. This bumper right here. It's going out. I have to have this one out to the customer by the end of this month, so I gotta really work on that one next. And then I'll be working on a pod, fitting some electronics in it for a customer as well. I gotta do the cutout here and do the cutouts here for the electronics, and that will be in one of my next videos. So stay tuned. Also have a headliner that I got to pop in another 1TV dash that's going to go to another customer. So that's it for today. This is Jacob, KnightRiderShop.com.